Hello, good afternoon. Reason why I'm showing this, it was absolutely amazing. I'll fill this in on this article. Yeah, yep, yep. There's a story behind that and a story about the hat and something else that I have to show you. So, by the way, my name's Charles. Actually, it's Chuck Martin, okay? And being a alumnus and a part of a great alma mater back 40 years ago. Now, obviously this article, obviously this held right here, what happened this weekend. By the way, thank you, Crystal Tweed, for an amazing front page story in regarding this because um, the president of Tri Valley Little League, Larry Whipple, and the complete staff, which features my niece as a part of it, and that I'm going to put there, and their fine staff, they actually did two amazing events right from back to back. It was a Friday thing. It was definitely a dedication, and it actually helped out a personal friend of mine who's going through the same, um, condition I am. You see, Coach Kurt Scheibe, this was the word like 2 weeks, almost about 2 weeks ago. Wow, 2 weeks ago. Actually, 2 weeks ago Thursday, it was an amazing event for Strikeout for Cancer for Kurt Scheibe, Tri Valley Little League. Okay, so the team that where I'm at right now, I live in Jeffersonville as we speak. They're part of the school district here in Sullivan West. Sullivan West and our alma mater, Kurt. Ironically, Kurt and I went to the same school at Tri Valley. Both teams are winners to me, and let me refresh that again. Both teams are amazing. They were the winners because we actually hopefully raised. I hope they raised enough money or raised some money for his prognosis, his dedication, and I told them about a little over a couple weeks ago when I did again one of the entries in this. I said, Kurt, I'm going through the same thing. You may have I think for those who keep in score, back then it was 6 rounds. He's going through his seventh round this week. I went through 27 rounds from last year. It's going to be my 28th round next week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be going to see the Lady Bulldogs play up in Jeff next week. So it's going to be fantastic. It's almost like reunion type and supporting each other, and that's what we need. We need a lot of support, especially we're warriors in time right now. So that was 2 weeks ago Thursday. Now last Friday, amazing, really amazing, and I have to commend the Tri Valley Little League in their Field of Dreams. Beautiful complex. Again, it ranged from the entire staff and committee, and the nuance, and newest. And not only that, I met another individual who's going through breast cancer. She is a warrior. She rang the bell. Now she's starting, other treatments. So I bless you on that as well. So it was absolutely amazing. So it was a fun-filled event on last Friday, where Tri Valley took on Chapel Field. And obviously Tri Valley won. The Tri Valley Lady Bears won in the softball matchup. But it really touched my heart. I was actually in my full Tri Valley Bear swag, the um, vintage varsity jacket, the Tri Valley hat. It was absolutely amazing. And for 40 years, keep this in mind, how exciting is this? During the month of June, I think the article said June 12th. I may be, this, but we had actually had a very special kickoff to the Tri Valley Little League season. and there were pictures, there was amazement, and there was like, obviously it was the Hall of Fame weekend for them too, but this time we're talking about what happened 40 years ago, where the Lady Bears won their first state Class D softball champions. They are the champions. And let me tell you, it was absolutely a magical time, even though the weather was a little bit, obviously with the hands and obviously with that's beside the point. And there were pictures, there were posters there, yet I got to see my team 40 years ago. Now, keep this in mind. I was a manager for the Tri-Valley Bears. I was a manager for football, baseball, and basketball. But baseball and softball connected because we actually shared the bus at the same time. But that's another story, another time. But this time it's for the ladies right now. And just seeing them brought a big smile on my face. In fact, one of the players who lives down in out of state right now, I got her number, texted her. I said, "You just missed an amazing event." So I just showed her pictures and shared the event with her. But it was the majority of the team was being there, except for one that passed away a couple of years ago from breast cancer. And her name is Allison Healthour, Big Al. We always call her Big Al, because, always the heart, the competition, everything. And she did what she knew best, but it was absolutely it was absolutely a magical moment. So there was Tanya Ackerley, there's Lisa Yeager, there's Margie Dunlop, Tony Mullen, Lynn Welch, another hero, myself, Kelly Bennell. I mean, I'm using their maiden name, so bear with me. Bear with me. We know what's going on. But the amazement, and as a matter of fact, here's something ironic. I saw V, and she's really one of my mentors, from health class, and she is always and will be that fierce coach. She knew how to win. She knew how to put a team together. And the girls absolutely adore her, admire her strength, Mary Feisner. And Mary, I love you. You know that. I love my girls. You deserve it. You definitely deserve it, especially in front of the new generation, the little leaguers, and obviously playing, with the softball, of the current generation. So it was absolutely a magical day. And again, thank you to the Sullivan County Democrat, Crystal Tweed, writing up that, it was front page this morning in the paper. And I was like, I have to pick this up. Got to pick it up. It made my heart happy. Made it happy. So getting back to really like a side story, Mary and I, Coach Feisner and I, we were just chatting. We catch up on things and, about the family and, what's going on. And I did remember recalling her that she had cancer also. She's a cancer survivor, like what we're going through. And I told her, like the week prior to with Kirk's thing, I said, yeah, I'm going through 27, now actually going to be 28 rounds next week. And it was absolutely comforting, compassionate. Oh, there was hugs going around. And the list is unbelievable. And, you get to see the pictures. You get to see, the memories. And then obviously in the scoreboard, they actually put a bigger, like a plaque or a bigger, something to dedicate the 1986 Class D state champions. And that was like that. And obviously you could hear in the video in the background, I was screaming, all my might. And it was absolutely just a magical moment. So it was absolutely a beautiful day. And obviously with the weather being with it as well. And yet, I can't forget congratulations. I know how to speak. It's chemo to the current Hall of Fame class of for Tri Valley Little League. And again, thank you to Larry and thank you to the to the amazing staff that worked hard and put everything together. So it was really, really a touching moment, a precious moment, and this one I will not forget forever. And it's just you go back to your going back. In fact, I have my yearbooks and I have it underneath the table and I just gave it a chuckle and just laughed and it was just an amazing. So, and yes, I did even eat, did treat myself actually. um, I actually had a chicken sandwich and tater tots. Really, tater tots, loaded tater tots. And I'm like, okay, am I gonna hold it hold it down? And which I did. It was absolutely good. The only thing that they didn't, they had the water, but I wish they had ginger ale. That's a choice of drink, or tea or something like that. But we'll leave it like that. So that was an amazing day that Friday, and just seeing the teammates, they're looking at me. It's like, oh, Chuck, oh my God, it's like it just meant a lot to me, as I meant a lot to the girls, and it was absolutely magical. It was absolutely magical. So congratulations again, 40 years, ladies. You guys rock. You guys are just amazing. It was just an amazing unit. And again, Tri Valley won the game against Chapel Field that day. So on to an amazing day on Saturday. And this is what I got to thank. I thank the Rotary Club, especially in Liberty, New York. Now, let me set up the story here, okay? A little bit before, I think it was in April, like mid to late April, I get a message. It was from a dear friend of mine, another mentor, and he does amazing trips around the world, and actually he did some local trips a while ago. Name is Gary Siegel. So Gary messaged me the one day and said, gee, the Rotary Club had, someone from the Rotary Club gave up their ticket, so they wanted to give to somebody else who would like to go. And very nicely, he asked me, would you like to go see a ball game? In New York City, yes, obviously. Okay. And it was like, okay, so we filled out the information, we got everything together. And then yet this past Saturday, and it was a fun crew with the Rotary, Gary and his wife. Thank you, by the way. And actually check them out at Steam Fund. They actually have podcasts for the Steam Fund. Check that out. They're doing season 2. Check that out. And it was amazing just to kind of give that little plug. So Gary, there you go. And so anyway, it was an absolutely amazing. We had a luxury bus full of amenities, bathroom included, because if you never know, hey, I'm drinking water, I have to go run to the bathroom or something like that, but that's beside the point. But we actually made available stops. And I knew along the way, there were some notables that I knew, like the amazing Joanna Gass, one of my other colleagues that I worked through school, the amazing and the wonderful Les Chris. We can't forget about Les, so love you. His good humor. He knew what it is, and he's a very, very dedicated to the Rotary in this area. So it was absolutely amazing. So here we go. We're going down. Everything. And then when I get to the city, I got to see obviously got to see the new bridge. We're getting on the Deegan, And then lo and behold, and I have pictures on another social media page, the trip to New York, to Yankee Stadium, the New York Yankee Stadium. And I was like in awe, the biggest screen you would ever seen, because it's not, I guess when you come to an age, and I get to appreciate more of the minor leagues, but being a New York baseball fan, I mean, I'm willing to go to Yankee, or I'm willing to go to the Mets to see Citi Field, which I'm hoping we get to do soon. That'll be absolutely, so here I am with the Thurman Munson batting shirt, representing Thurman and whatnot. And it was one of those replacements that we went, a couple weeks ago. Thanks, Jerry, by the way, for a great trip up to Cooperstown. And it's like, it was so magical. It was absolutely amazing. So, and you could start seeing the lines line up because it was a matinee against the Baltimore Orioles. Oh, yes, the Yankees won, by the way. Oh, Yankees won. I'll tell you that in a little bit, and long memory at the end. Um, but it was absolutely, all the gates were waiting to get online. And I knew it was, obviously, May the 4th be with you, days before, the unofficial day of Star Wars Day. So, that being said, I'm just like, you know, walking and just paying attention and watching. They actually had each and every gate for the first 18,000 fans. Now, they should have been a little bit more, but the first 18,000 fans, and I have this right here with me. Bobblehead. I did not open this yet because this is such a collector's item. If I had two, I would actually, I mean, there's people probably actually had opened it, and you've probably seen it online. And then obviously, here's your Yankee of the day. And then you look in the back, replica of that. So it's absolutely amazing. And then obviously like that. And then the incredible New York symbol. So, but that was just the tip of that was just the beginning of the iceberg. What I heard, and I met this gentleman with, confined to a wheelchair. He had polio. And that specific day was Strikeout for Polio Day. So we had Strikeout for Cancer for Kurt. This time was Strikeout for Polio down at the stadium. Now, reason why I wore this right now, right here, if you'd see it. And this is a good hats. These are New Era hats, by the way. Then you flip it over. How cool is that? How amazing is that? So I have to say to Gary, his wife, and to the amazing Rotarians, thank you for letting me be there to create the magic. By the way, yes, the Yankees won 9-4. And the biggest kick, the third inning, I see my name, and it's there. It's, you got to go on social media. I really can't show. I don't have the ability to show pictures about it. Maybe I will try and see what I can do. But I actually had my name up on the scoreboard. I'm like, oh God. It's like living seventh heaven. And, it was absolutely amazing. I got to see the ball game. I got to enjoy it. But here I am. I'm getting a little hungry, and I know it's a little pricey and whatnot. Yet, here's the vendors, the beer vendors, margaritas. Didn't touch a drink, but I did go to one of the best places to get a pizza. It was absolutely delicious. And I got a drink. I got a ginger Starry, which is kind of okay, but I rather prefer having ginger ale. So in that case, it was, that or nothing. I'm like, okay, let's go with the Starry. Actually, it was pretty good. So it was absolutely a wonderful day, a beautiful day in New York, and many many thank yous. The appreciation about it and the good times. We actually had a great time, cracking jokes, saying a specific line, which I will not say on this thing, but yeah, it was just it was just an amazing time, going down to the city and just seeing Bart. Oh, the hunt for the hat. This was funny. So we knew the first pitch was 1:30, and Gary texted me. Gary told me that the hats are only available before the first pitch. And I looked at the time. Okay, let me look. And obviously, it got souvenir here, souvenir. Obviously, the yearbook, media guide, a scorecard, which I didn't do the scorecard. Unfortunately, I wish I had a writing utensil. I asked one of the one of the helpers. I said, "Gee, how can I get up there very, very fast?" Well, either you could wait for the elevator or take the ramps up. Ramps, really? Okay. So here I go. Starting from that one point, I look up that ramp. That's one. Go up to another ramp. That's two. On the third level, and that's the high point. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at how beautiful, looking down there. And this is like, this is, what I love about James Ice. I'm throwing this in there, talking baseball at Section 420 at Yankee Stadium. James Ice does a podcast as well. But he actually does the, little bit more deeper, fine detailed, like I'm showing it. But this was like a special edition for me. So here I am going through it. It's like, okay, so where in this area can I get the hats? So I'm looking around, and then I see a table just right outside or right in the passageway with the table with these hats. I said, "Excuse me, are you doing the," and I said to the gentleman, I said, "Are you doing the hats for Strikeout for Polio?" He said, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, cool." I said, "Are you on list?" "Yeah." And it's like, "I'm with the tour group here from upstate New York." "Oh, okay." So, blurb, and voila. This is an amazing hat. So I'm going to cherish this again. And I'm a big, keep this in mind, I love my hats. I love my hats. So, but it was absolutely a beautiful day. By the way, did I tell you the Yankees win 9-4? And I mean, two amazing bombs from the Bronx Bombers themselves just really made that all important. But so it was a great day. Sunday was a relaxing day, and then I heard yesterday, which really broke my heart, because obviously I've been in the media for so long and I've been in sports broadcasting. As we all grew up as kids, we really was on Channel 11 with Phil Rizzuto, Bill White, and I forgot the other commentator. Yet, for how many years between WABC 770, WCBS 880, and then on the Fan, and even on Yes Network, the amazing duo of John Sterling and Michael Kay. As we enjoyed the celebration, there's also that other side of life. Due to heart complications, John Sterling passed away. And I was lost. I was really lost for words, speechless. And I keep hearing in the back of my mind, with Michael Kay's see a home run, but the way they did magically with, the tribute to John and his powerful pipes, his diaphragm, and it makes sportscasting or play-by-play, a joy in just listening. It's like Mel Allen to, other sports, or, the classic sportscasters or the play-by-play guys, and, Vince Scully, that's the one I'm thinking about. And being in broadcasting and being a part of, in fact, I had my share back in the 90s with the Renegades as well, Yes, in fact, fun fact, yes, I did call a game with Bill Rogan from the Hudson Valley Renegades years and years ago. Because I took a trip up to Utica Blue Sox while the Renegades were playing up there, and then there was another trip with Oneonta. Oneonta was really kind of like the birthplace, and not only that, it's only just a few minutes away from Cooperstown. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yet, John Sterling, amazing, awesome. His diaphragm, his baritone, and you could always hear it. And I'm going to kind of keep it together. His very tagline, where it be an Aaron Boone home run, the judge, A-Rod saying, and you could always hear that one significant saying: "It is high, it is far, it is gone." Bam! You knew we were in the right place at the right time. And then how many world championships he covered, and how excited. This is how New York ball is like this. And the way or even like Michael Kay, with his K, was this saying would see a home run. But at the end of the Yankee broadcast where the Yankees win, here he is. John Sterling goes, "The Yankees win. The Yankees win." It's like that. It was just so exciting. And this is why I enjoy being a sports broadcaster or sportscasting or being covered in the games. It makes it so exciting. And we just lost an amazing human being 24 hours ago. So, John, thank you for the memories. In loving memory, you always touch this guy's heart, and just feeling that energy. That's what it basically is all about. And truly, it's a win. It's really a win. So, on that point, again, it was an awesome weekend. And, make sure you pick up, before this is the early bird special, or the early, make sure you pick up this. This is definitely well worth it, because they deserve it. And its legacy, its legend, and it's a tribute. So it was a beautiful tribute. So, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up this week on a very special weekend that really uplifted my spirits. And again, thank you to the Rotarians, the Rotary Club up here in Sullivan County, and a huge thank you going out to Gary Siegel and his wife. I really appreciate you guys. I love you. You guys are the best. And on that note, don't give up. Don't ever give up. And then a mentor tells me, which I'm glad I got in touch with him, he celebrated his birthday. His other saying is like, keep your feet on the ground, yet keep reaching for the stars. Always. All right. So this is Chuck Martin from CGM3 Productions. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the week with peace, love, friendship, and we will see you later on. By the way, it is high, it is far, it is gone, and the Yankees win. The Yankees win. See ya.